So we obviously did our first session yesterday, and I personally had a lot of fun. Tell us about you guys' experiences, like you first time streaming on Twitch for all of us. Thinking back to before we started, what were like your nerves like in the build up? How are you all feeling?
Yeah, I think up to the build-up, I was quite nervous because obviously it's just we've done D&D before, but it's never been streamed live, so it's just that little element of it. I think of people watching and judging them how well you do your character, or things like that. That's always in the back of my mind, kind of thing. But yeah, I think once we got into it wasn't too bad. Yeah, quite calm enough. Once we got so once you start describing where we were and what were happening, we all met each other online. Quite good.
Yeah, I think it is like because I was obviously like I was nervous. I was super nervous. I think because like it's been such a big build and when we've been like working on it for so long as well. Like it feels like there's a lot of pressure almost because like you've got the countdowns on TikTok and everything. And we've been working on the socials and and sort of doing content leading up to it and trying to plug it everywhere in different podcasts and whatnot. So it feels like you feel that pressure for the first impression to be really good. We hit some bumps in the road beforehand, but I feel like the way that we all handled it as a collective was really good. So I think the storyline as well helped with like helping us all settle into it. And I think also that urgency you sort of forget about thinking about the little things, and you're just in the moment of like obviously with the fog and everything, it's that fear for your life kind of thing.
Yeah. And
like that was good.
I agree. Like the certain bumps in the road that we hit leading up to that first session, I think how elated we all were afterwards and how happy everyone was afterwards. I think we would have had that anyway, but I think it sort of magnified that and made it bigger because a lot of us had sort of pushed to get graphics sorted and figure out where we can stream and how we can stream, led to that sense of relief when it was done. And we'd had such good comments and we'd had people talking all the way through it. We'd had good viewership for a small channel like us anyway. We're never going to be like, well, we might, but some streamers get 80,000 people watching them at a time, and we're never going to, D&D's never going to be that sort of thing. But to have the viewership that we had, I think all of that just built up, and especially with how well the game went, yeah, that sense of relief afterwards was really nice. What were your first impressions of everyone's characters? Obviously, we've got 5 independently unique characters, some a bit weirder than others.
Yeah. I think it made it more interesting. I think because we obviously through your instructions we kind of kept it secret as well. So we weren't allowed to before the first episode we weren't allowed to discuss anything. Even little hints of each other. So when we first found our characters, or knowing everyone else's characters, were pretty cool, and the diversity of it all. Yeah, I think we've got quite a different aspects of everything. I think, which is quite good from my perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it is really. It has been really nice to sort of, see the different characters. I find it really interesting with Ed's character, with Jeremiah. I think that's sort of, but Ed's also really good at building that character arc and that character narrative through little bits here and there, and you're like, okay, I get where you're going with that. So I think that was really nice to see. And same as Maeve. I quite liked Maeve's sort of introduction in the jewel shop.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute.
Do you think not knowing everyone and these smaller bits about people, like not hearing Misha's accent beforehand, not knowing sort of the person, like you guys knew sort of race and class, some of you knew race and class because we'd had to share graphics and all that stuff. Do you feel not knowing and not speaking to each other beforehand about the kind of person you're going to be, the kind of character that you're going to play? Do you think that added to it? Do you think that helped? Do you think that gave you that? Obviously, we've just done first session. You guys barely know each other and have barely spoken with everything that happened. But does it give you that sense of wanting to know more about these people?
Yeah, definitely. I like it. I liked it because it was sort of you're learning about these characters with the rest of the viewers almost. like, you sort of learn it at the same time. So it's quite good, and I love Misha's accent. It's just brilliant, and I love that sort of, and what was it you said? You said when you said the little figure was your son, and you went, "I'm just joshing with you." So I can't hold it together in those moments.
With Misha's accent, I had heard Misha's accent because we'd done a little one-to-one, so I knew what was coming. And I found it funny the first time I heard it, but I absolutely love it, and I do think it's a funny accent. It's so hard to then try and keep it together with watching everyone else's reactions to Misha's, because Martine, I've played a lot of games with you now, and when something like that is happening, I know you're going to burst out laughing.
I can't help it. I can't.
Same as the cream pie incident. Rhys and Martine, watching it back this morning, both of you went straight away. There was the back door incident again.
Oh, that got everyone
straight away.
Yeah.
Everyone was. Oh, that just. It's like, oh, what I think. Someone in chat said, "Oh, that broke you all." Like that. That was like the straw.
It was the one, it's so hard because as a DM, you need to try and regulate emotion and not. You need to have this poker face when people are asking you questions and things are happening.
Yeah.
But the cream pie got me, but I managed to hold it together without. I had to stop looking at you two specifically.
Oh man, I struggle. Yeah, I struggle. I've got like my humour is just like of a 5, 6 year old. So all this kind of thing was just making me giggle. So yeah, we're very good. I was quite nervous as well for the accent though, so I thought I was practicing quite a few times. But yeah, I thought because it's not normal. Obviously, it's not something completely different, and it's like certain wordings and phrases you have to try and like think how when you say them words, because it's not nothing round here that speaks like that way. So, but yeah, we're good. I know the people have got the little. I know you haven't got accents, but you all speak differently anyway, don't you? To how you normally speak. So we were really good.
Yeah, because I know I said I'm trying to like lean into my northern accent anyway. Which when I did do a one-to-one with Lewis, and I was like, I'm trying to like lean into my like northernness, and he was like, I can tell that you're doing that. But someone like Ed, who doesn't live up north, is just going to say the same sort of level of thickness, and he's not. It's just going to sound like you. And I'm like, oh, okay.
If we I looked at the viewing figures for Twitch, and we had a Canadian in watching. To a Canadian person, you are just going to have this weird accent they don't really hear on British TV much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but meeting all these, obviously with the original question, meeting these other characters, and obviously it's the first time we've met these. It's just seen, kind of getting it, although it was like just very brief, getting a feel of what we're like. So, for example, Pebbles was like stealing things. It's like, oh, okay, so we know we got kind of like she's gonna be a cheeky little thing face. You'll have to like see where this is gonna get us into trouble clearly at some point in this campaign. But yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it is good, and I liked the dynamic between Pebbles and Misha in certain moments. I like that. That's really good. So it'd be interesting to see, how that sort of evolves. Same as like everybody else, just the dynamics between each other once we sort of have more dialogue with each other and whatnot. I always love the relationship building and the different dynamics that can be made between different characters. I do really like that part of D&D. So that'll be interesting.
I agree with that. I love obviously I don't play I play a lot of characters, but I don't play a specific character for a whole length of a campaign. But to watch you guys and see where you are when you first start, and I normally know rough personality types, rough kind of things that you guys are going for, but they're always a surprise to me anyway, because in the moment things change. But to see these relationships blossom between these characters, like we all know each other, we all have played games, we've all done this stuff, but to see, like, before campaign I always think, oh, this person will get on with that person and that character will get on with that character, and then that's completely different every time. I can't wait to see what relationships do blossom and how close some people do get, how some people at some points will probably be at each other's throats or clash, and that's quite an interesting dynamic to watch happen like firsthand.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say something, but I can't remember.
That's absolutely fine.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
There we go.
I was going to say another thing is like, because when I'm trying to like hold character as well, like say for example when Misha said, "Oh, I'm just joshing about," and I know how my character might react, but me as a human, I just can't. I just end up burst out laughing, and I can't hold it together. So then I'm just like laughing, and I'm like. So I'm just trying to like, I can't hold it together. Me, I'm shit. I'd be shit at having a poker face.
It's still good though.
You'll have to try DMing at some point and try like that. It's so hard to keep a straight
I
face.
couldn't.
It's so
I
hard.
couldn't.
Yeah, but it's still. I suppose it's good for like people watching as well. You know, like they get that humour and you kind of get that. You know, it's quite a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pebbles is already a fan favourite, as we've spoken about. And I think your infectious energy will probably get you as most people's favourites because they will watch the fact that you are bursting out laughing at any opportunity you can possibly get, and you're quite expressive in your actions and your reactions to stuff, and I think that will get you a lot more fans. Rhys, we talked about your accent, obviously without giving anything away about future stuff with your character, any of that stuff. What was your inspiration to finding a weird American accent that you've decided to put on?
I tend to. I'm quite kooky anyway. I'm a bit weird. I tend to like mess about with voices and stuff like that. And I would just trying quite a lot with different accents, which would quite fit quite well. And they were more or less like thinking. I think which a lot of people do when they try and do accents is like, can I actually keep this up for the amount of time that I need to keep it up for? I think you can do certain voices, but then you think it's actually if I do this for 4 hours, it's going to strain my voice. You know what I mean? At some point. So yeah, but other than that, I think my son will also wanted to give some input, saying, "Might you try this voice? You might try that voice?" So we just tried it, played about. That's right. So yeah.
I love that. I love that you brainstorm with your son about it. That's really cute. I know personally, like some of my backstories actually, I've sort of collaborated with my mum on it. Like working in a bakery was my mum's idea.
Yeah.
Because of cats being able to knead bread and knead dough. So I find that kind of thing cute. So I liked hearing you say about how you collaborated with your son on it.
Yeah. I think he said, "Well, why don't you try some like you like the idea of Forrest Gump type, accents, that kind of thing, or Toy Story, like what I mentioned before." So I just give it a go. It's like a bit of a mixture of everything, I think.
There were absolutely some times where I was sat there watching you, listening to you in dialogue, and you did, to me, sound a bit like Tom Hanks. So if that's what you're going for, you've absolutely smashed it.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. First time playing in this campaign setting, because it is completely brand new. What are your first thoughts on where you are, the little tidbits of stores and stuff that has been described and played in maybe by others? What are your first thoughts of the world so far?
I'll let you go first, Martine, on this one.
Okay. I did. I mean, I already said when you so before we started the campaign, Lewis gave us all a campaign handbook which had basic information about the creation of the world, the different factions in the world, just sort of basic knowledge that we can use for reference throughout the campaign. And I already said that, like, literally in the first page that I was reading, it was beautifully written. So, that's props to you, Lewis, and like how you've written it. And obviously there's a lot of effort that's gone into building this world. So hearing you bring it to life was really quite, it was lovely. So, hearing about is it Starry Loom District? And it's just, it's beautiful. It's lovely. The different areas and parts of the city, and it'd be good to explore that more. And in the next session we're hopefully going to the library, and I'm looking forward to sort of exploring the city a bit more. So yeah, I really liked the first impressions of it. I thought it was really, like I say, I think you brought it to life really, really well.
Yeah, touching a bit more on Martine there as well. I think the idea of everyone that plays D&D has got that ability where, like I always found, whether you're different, when you read a book anyway, you can imagine it playing out in your head as you like reading a book. That's always been what's been like for me. So it's like when you read any book, especially if it's fantasy, it's like a movie playing out. How you've written it and how you describe it, it's like, so it helps me dive more into my character just because I feel like I'm, you know, in that world that I am, my character are playing in that world, and it's just like, and how you describe it, it just feels more tangible, I'd say, like that we are there, you know what I mean, and how you've explained every little bit of a detail, and it just adds to that for people to imagine, even if I was to watch it, I think that's what makes it quite, helpful for people.
Immersive, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
And obviously you had this thing that has kind of shoved you all together, this fog, this mist. What were your thoughts when all that was happening? What was going through your head when this mist was closing in on you guys and people were dropping like flies?
I personally thought this was going to be the quickest like group death ever. I think at one point, Misha actually said, because I walked into the fog, didn't I? And then you said it doesn't harm me. I think there was that scene where we're like, it was nice to know you.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the quickest death I've ever seen. But like, I think it got commented on the Twitch itself where it was, instead of a common everyone meets in a tavern, this was just a very imaginative, way of getting all these people and characters together, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's one thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's sort of that sense of urgency, and sort of like you say, it's a really good way of bringing characters together, creating a sense of urgency. So it's like, you can't just like sit there and chat about, what should, it took about, I think it was like the last hour that we actually started to learn each other's names. So, it's that kind of, I think it's really, really good. I think it was a really good introduction.
It's so different thinking about making a game for the players, which this is obviously is for the players. The main aim of this is for you guys to have fun and me to have fun and us to enjoy this game, but with the added extra of knowing that there's going to be an audience watching. It's so cliches work, and meeting in a tavern works. It brings everyone together and something happens and you're all there. I kind of took inspiration from, and I'd love to take credit for thinking about doing these sort of vignettes and doing it that way, and I am just a genius and that's how I did it. But watching things like Critical Role and watching D&D games where they do it for an audience is the reason why I thought it would work well like that. You get a little sense of intrigue into a little snippet of these characters' normal lives. It gives you a sort of background and a basis of the fact that these people aren't just these adventurers that have just ended up in the middle of this tavern and something happens. Like, one of them is trying to sprinkle sprinkles onto a cupcake. Another one is trying to learn how to make jewelry. Another one has just entered the city for the first time, and it feels more like people go around about their day-to-day basis every single day. And if you took a slice of, you go to a shopping center and there are hundreds of people there. If you looked at, before that shopping center, pick 6 of those people, 5 of those people, what were they doing in the build up to all being in that same place? Like this meet cute experience where something happens and they're all there, but they were all there for completely different purposes, completely separate, whether to go and have a talk about supply chain to a bakery, or go and buy some eggs for someone in their life. It's nice to give that sense of these are just ordinary people, and this has happened and they have been chucked in this situation together. How do they figure out these moments? How do they form some sort of group? How does a hierarchy of that group form? Like, what happens then?
I'm going to say, is there a lot of nervousness then from you, Lewis, just to say, in case like one of your characters just randomly went, in fact, no, I'm just gonna do this, or do something out of the ordinary, and you're like, oh shit. It's just somewhere that you think.
So the nervousness for me when I start a campaign, the only time I get nervous in campaigns is before session 1. As soon as session 1 is out the way, I'm absolutely fine. The only reason I get nervous with session 1, especially with homebrew games, is because I have created this story and I want everyone to like it. And remembering, there are more key details you need to remember in a session 1 because you script a lot more and you sort of railroad a lot more. Whereas in other sessions, I'm pretty good, in my opinion, at reacting to stuff that you guys can do or will do. And there will always be stupid stuff. Someone will always do something ridiculous. Someone will always mess something up. And I can react to those things. I was very nervous for this session, and it wasn't because of Twitch. The Twitch stuff was absolutely fine. I'm not fussed about doing it for an audience. I've played games with, like, we've done the Battle Royale that we all did with everyone from all of our groups together, and we had an audience then. It's just the same thing to me. For me, it's not that you guys are going to do something that throws me off, because there are ways and means of getting people to do what I need them to do. But it's that making sure that all of these dots that I've put in place for that first session all work out from my perspective, not from a player's perspective.
Yeah.
I can understand, because it's like, I suppose, you know, in session 1, from what I mean, I've never DM'd before, but from what I can tell from a player perspective, is that like in session 1, there's a lot more manoeuvring from your side, especially like with what happened during our session 1. There's a lot more manoeuvring from your side, whereas beyond that, it's more player led, and you can just supplement it with extras at that point. So
Exactly
I can
right.
understand how there's a lot more structure in session 1.
Yeah, it's a matter of, like, unless you start it, and some DMs do this, and I've done games where I've done it, where you start it that the group know each other, and they are this party already, they are part of this gang or faction or whatever, and they know each other. Unless you're doing it like that, you need to sort of, in the fictional sense, have all of the stars aligned to get these people together for the thing to affect all of them. So maneuvering and making sure that these people are doing those certain things is the hard bit. And that's, once that is out the way, and once that was out of the way on session 1, I was chilled and I was fine, because anything that you guys do then, I know what I want to happen. I know these little bits. I know what's going to trigger combat. You guys might not have triggered combat. You could have gone elsewhere, but you followed little bits that I put in.
For the breadcrumbs that you
exactly that.
you threw out, and we were like, no.
There's always a way to sort of maneuver and change things, because you guys don't know what's going to happen. Half the time, I don't know what's going to happen because dice rolls and player decisions. I know a rough guide on most sessions of where I want it to go or what I want to happen roughly, but that's always rough. Session 1 has to not be rough. Session 1 has to be, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, I need you to go there, this happens. Then I can breathe a sigh of relief. All of that fell into place quite nicely, and now I can actually just be a DM instead of like a shepherd trying to herd wild animals.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes we can be like that though, can't we? We can be like different people's personalities or characters might want to do different things. You know, but I think as a group we are quite curious, and we do like find out what's this do, so it's quite easy.
That's the beauty of it though. I think that's part of the fun of DMing, is having these 5 unique people. And not just the characters themselves, but you as players who obviously put a bit of yourselves into your characters. You all have different wants and needs and different reactions to things and different ideas about what the best thing to do next is. So I can't sort of structure a session based on exacts and definites, because I think completely different to what you guys think. So I could try and plan 400 different things of possibilities that could happen. but then Martine, in her weird moment, might just say, "What I'm gonna do is this," and that is option 401 that I didn't write down, and that's the fun of it.
I think with everyone, I mean, obviously I've played quite a bit of sessions with like Eddie before and Cody, and obviously I've played only like as well as Cherie, and obviously I played with you, Martine, as well as Emma as well, but only not for a longer time than I have with them. But like I said, I think with everybody, we do have got quite a decent banter with each other. We know where people's limits are, I'd say. But like I've found that all your guys, are really fun and just they're happy just to have a bit of a laugh and just play with it, you know what I mean, and just see where it goes type thing, you know what I mean? So, which is good. I think you've got to have that dynamic with everyone just to feel comfortable to know that you can play that character if you want to be, like if you want to have a, let's say, conflict with a certain character, know that they're not going to take it personally. It is just part of this role playing thing, you know what I mean? Which just makes it more comfortable to play that role as well, because you know they're not going to take it personal. So, which is good for the actual game itself.
Yeah. I totally agree with that in terms of like being able to have that conflict, because we've played together in different capacities, and we've had just like nights where we've just had like chats and laughs and banter and that. So we are friends in that sense. So it is good to have that like safe zone to be able to actually like lean into your character. I do agree with that. It is really good.
How do you guys see? Obviously, you've seen small snippets of the other characters in this. From what you've seen so far, how do you see party dynamics going with the little bits that you have? Do you see anyone that you think, from what you've seen, would become sort of this party leader? Do you think there'll be anyone that will bring the chaos to the group more than any others and cause issues? What are your thoughts? Pebbles instantly comes to mind for, I think, all of us, judging by Martine's face. What are your thoughts on how party dynamics so far, with the limited information that you have? How do you think they're going to go?
Take it, Rhys.
Thanks.
Take it away.
It's like I said, I think at this moment in time, just purely going what I've seen. Like I said, it's the first encounter, and we've not really got enough information about like what the motives are and stuff. Up to now, I think Martine's character Pebbles is going to be the one that's going to cause a lot of mischief. I think is going to throw us into some situations we don't need to be in. Personally, I think I'm not sure. I think Cherie's character, she might be the naive one. I think she's, because obviously she's up to now, as far as I'm aware, like she's quite new to the city, isn't she? Obviously without the background information up to now, so she's going to be more naive of where we are, what we're going. Emma's character now, it's just all we know is she can throw spells about her, so that's I'm not really sure. It's a difficult one because it's like, because we really don't know each other's characters. Like, we've kept it so much of a secret, which is annoying for me because I like to know everything. But yeah, I think Eddie's character, he might be the one to talk a little bit more, or myself. I think because we're from, or even Pebbles, because we're from the city itself, aren't we? So, we're not from it, but we are working here, so we might have a bit more oomph and say more than like Cherie's character. She might be a bit more quiet when engaging with other people, maybe, I think.
Yeah, so I think personally with Cherie's character, I loved the aesthetic. I love the appearance of the character.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's it's really cute, and I really liked that. That was really cutesy and like a little bit. And then like you say, I think she is going to be a bit more of a, perhaps quiet to begin with, but I feel like maybe she'll, obviously, as a campaign progresses, characters tend to evolve in their character arc anyway. So it'd be interesting to see if her character becomes more ballsy and like, you know what I mean, sort of more out there, and maybe that's sort of how she is in general anyway. Like Rhys said, we don't know the characters that well anyway, so we've not exactly had that much opportunity to see their dynamic from the get-go anyway. So I think that's really interesting. Emma's character, yeah, I think I've seen snippets of, you know, Emma's personality in Maeve from what I've seen already. You know, that sort of like, how can I put it, like fiery, like feisty.
A bit cheeky.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that about Emma as a person, and I love that about Maeve. And yeah, I think that's really interesting. Ed, I think, you know, I can see where he's going with the character, and again, it'll be really good to see how that evolves. Whether he'll be a leader, I don't know, but Ed in general is really good at leading a party anyway. He has that natural ability with any character he has. So I can understand if he was to, you know, sort of naturally fall into that role anyway. But I think with Rhys's character Misha, I think that's going to be just a barrel of laughs, really. I think that's going to be really interesting. Just it makes me excited for the next session.
Yeah.
The whole group.
Yeah, and like you've already set up some like dynamics, like you've already said, like you got your Pebbles, and you already know that like a bit of a cheap character already. You know what I mean? So you know already, like you can already see that the mischievousness that's we're going to get up to at some point straight away. So again, like you said, you look forward to that because you think to myself, as a player, what it's going to be. You know, how much of a problem is it going to be? Is it going to cause a problem where Misha or another character is going to step in and that's going to cause some conflict? And you think, is it going to go to a point where, you know, is it going to go too far, or is it just going to keep? Are you going to keep it like just a cheeky little bits and bats? That's the excitement of it, you know what I mean? Of how far things are going to go and where it's going to take us, type thing. That's the unknown, isn't it? That's what excites.
Yeah. I think also like moments like that. Obviously, I'm sort of like thinking about what my character would do, but also I think the reactions from the rest of the group really demonstrates like the conflict in the difference in morality, and you know that I think that moments like that really illustrate those dynamics. I feel like I'm saying dynamic way too often in this. I feel like I need to pull up a thesaurus.
Yeah, because before when you I think the scene when you did actually steal the item, I think it was only Sheree character as well as Emma's. They didn't really say anything or much, but then mine and Edge's character from straight away were like, "You need to put that back." So
Don't do that.
So then, like when you think about it, you can tell that my character and Eddie's are a bit more like that's wrong to steal kind of thing. Well, you can tell that them other two characters they're all right with it. You know what I mean? Much for
either that or they could just be more quieter and less likely to
it's hard, like
voice it. But
as you both said in your points there, it's hard to, like, we've done one session and you can think that you have a general idea of what this character is going to be like.
Yeah.
But they might have just been a little bit quieter when they're meeting new people, and then next session they might completely take charge of the group and start bossing you around. Like it's fun to try and think about how that dynamic is going to work in the future. You also met a lot of NPCs yesterday, from two owners of bakeries to tavern owners to jewelry shop owners to a guy in the Rags to Rickard's clothing shop to Grok, the half orc. What are your impressions of the NPCs? Who did you like so far? Like,
I liked Grok. I did like him. He was a very good, fun character, I think. The Rags to Rickard. As soon as you said that, right, it was such a... Because again, I've got... The play on words were just, oh my God, that is amazing.
I noticed a few of you, like, when I looked at everybody, I was like, oh, I could see you just going... Just like
very clever, very clever. I like stuff like that anyway, and I like the fact that when I was playing when you were playing, is it Lila Duran, and she's asking me to like, oh, if you wanted like to smash up their supplies, I'm all right with it. And I'm like, what? Completely threw me, absolutely threw me. But yeah, And they were my favourite little bits as well. And the scene with Emma's character where she dropped the diamond, that was amazing. I was like, I wonder what's going to happen next. She's dropped it. You know what I mean? Brilliant.
It was nice. It was nice playing some of these people at parts because obviously you guys didn't know. Like for instance, the bakeries. Neither of you knew that you were working for rival bakeries at all. You just picked that you wanted to work for a bakery. But then, like thinking about your scenes and thinking about how these people are, it was nice to throw in these little digs about stuff that other people are doing. Like Lila made a dig about the other bakery. Lila made a dig about the tavern that Jeremiah works in, because this is just how these people would speak. Like you are staying in the tavern that Jeremiah works and cooks the food in. So it's nice to have like your character maybe have some thoughts and ideas from people they trust about where these other people work and what they do. And I'm excited to see your two characters when they find out they work for the opposite bakeries.
Yeah, because just sort of touching on that, like I did think about that. I was like, oh, we know, but our characters don't know that they work for the other bakery yet. So I mean, me and Misha already have a bit of like banter going on already. So it's that'll be interesting. In terms of NPCs in general, it's straight off the bat the first NPC being that Russian guy talking to Ed, that got me. I was like, oh my god, just the Russian accent. I've not heard you do a Russian accent before, so I don't know why, it just always makes me giggle when I hear you doing a different accent. I don't know. But it is very versatile. Grok was brilliant. I loved Grok. I love those kinds of characters where they're just sort of blunt and straight to the point. It's brilliant. And with Brucey as well, like I really liked Brucey and Brucey's sort of sweet nature, and I think that's interesting because Pebbles is very abrupt sometimes and very blunt and cheeky and sort of like a northern geezer sort of thing, like saying northern geezer in a Cockney accent makes sense. But anyways,
we're clipping that just to let you know.
Fuck my life. Anyways, so so I think the dynamic between Brucey and Pebbles is quite cute. I think it's wholesome. I think it will, that'll be cute.
I'm going to say I enjoyed the little scene where Sherie's character went shopping and he realised she had no money and she's just taking all the clothes back off her shoulder. Oh, amazing. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that was funny. I found that funny when... Yeah, I think when he said, "Get out of my shop," and it's like... Poor Cherie, well, poor Azalea.
Yeah.
I love that. It's kind of not that I want every NPC to shock or do anything like that, but it's kind of payback in a way at times, because you obviously want normal NPCs who are going to just be having normal conversations with you guys and getting along with you and teaming up with you in ways and being allies and being nice. But then there's also other times where you guys put DMs, players in general, put DMs through so much random shit that it is nice to have you guys improv and react to something that's not just all nicey and innocent and everyone just agreeing with what you say. It's nice to see how a character reacts. It's nice to see how a player reacts. Like Emma was perfect in that. I was watching it this morning. Emma was perfect in that first scene. We had spoken, we'd done a one-to-one, and she knew what this woman was like towards her character. This sort of strict, not really taking any shit from her character in demeanor. But Emma's reactions to it were absolutely perfect. She went along with that scene and made that scene what it became.
Yeah.
Because of her reactions and her responses to stuff and playing into that even if she wants to have a character that might be really strong-willed and might be really sort of a leader or confident or whatever, she played into that doing what this woman said because that is the dynamic that she has with that NPC. It was nice to see that.
Yeah, definitely. I really liked seeing that, like you say, that dynamic with that NPC and the, like you say, almost submissiveness to that NPC. Yeah, you can sense the almost intimidation from Jemima?
Jamina.
Jamina. Yeah. Puts the mean in Jamina.
Exactly that. Is there anything that surprised you about your own characters? Sort of, it's you sit there and you have these moments where you think beforehand, this person's going to be like this, they're definitely going to be like this. But then in session, you might react differently to how you expected, or you might do something that you didn't expect to do. Like, I'm not saying as a specific example, but something along the lines of like Pebbles when she was trying to steal something. A character, not specifically Pebbles, a character might think, well, they're not going to be a thief or anything. They're just going to be this way. But then all of a sudden in session, you're like, no, I'm just going to pocket that. Is there anything that so far that has sort of shocked you about reactions you've had just with your character, or things that you didn't think would play out the way they were going to?
Yeah, I think for me, I didn't expect my character to be as like. I think what threw me is the dynamic I've got with Pebbles, because like when I did the I'm just joshing you, that were completely random, and I'm like, and I didn't expect it because I wanted, like, obviously he's quite a gentle giant, as it were, anyway. Do you know what I mean? And then I didn't expect him to be like completely just messed about and just random. You know what I mean? And I think another one that threw me were obviously I knew with how me and Lewis spoke with the creation of my character. Obviously, it's a wooden thing that you don't. It's quite something you won't see out the ordinary type character. I knew I'd get some questions asked by obviously your guys, but in my head I'm thinking, right, no, I'm not going to tell them nothing. You know, in my head I'm going to keep things to myself. And obviously I did explain a little bit more, and I thought, I should have kept it a little bit more to myself, but I didn't regret it. It's more like when I mentioned that I couldn't remember a lot of things. You know what I mean? I thought I was going to leave that till maybe session 2 or 3 or whatever it were. But you know, see, I explained a bit more. But just we all guys questioning like certain ways of that.
Cracked under the pressure.
Yeah. It's like, well, why do you do this? What's this? What's that? You know what I mean? So it's just you just do them, don't you? It's just it's nice though.
That's the thing. It's like that. What I said about being a DM. It's that you can plan for every scenario that you think is going to happen, but players or the DM in a player's point of view can completely twist that and change that up, and you are put on the spot, and it's how you react in that moment. And I think Misha saying what he did at that time was the perfect way, and he didn't give away too much of anything. He didn't give away loads of information. I just can't remember. I don't remember much.
Yeah, I think that was really good. I think there was a couple of weird. Now that I'm thinking back to it, I'm like, we were practically planning a birthday party for me at one point, and then obviously, you know, we were sort of force feeding you loaf cake reason.
Yeah.
Not sort of force feeding him loaf cake. You were force feeding him loaf cake.
Just try it. You've never tried. Just try it. Oh, it is funny. I love those kinds of moments. They're just brilliant.
So we've done first session. You've seen a bit of something that is happening involving your players. You've been marked by these tattoos of sorts on each of you. You've had this mist or fog engulf the part of town, as far as you're aware, that part of town, and a lot of people have died. One person didn't die so far as you are aware, as well as you guys, who is Grok. Now that you've seen a bit of stuff that is seemingly happening around you, what are you looking forward to? What are you intrigued about? What are you excited about in regards to those things?
I think for me, finding out where this fog's come from, Obviously, I know we're going to the library to find out more information on the next session. Where that leads us to is another matter. I think what's intriguing is these figures we ended up fighting. These people they must have come from somewhere. So it's like, were they created? Were they part of this fog? Were they, these lightning cracks that these people have turned up? Is that from someone that's cast a spell? Is it it's a big bad at the end of it? We're going to find any more information of what it all means. And the tattoo as well, I found intriguing because obviously that's made us all bestie friends now. We've all got this tattoo.
Or a bard,
but yeah,
bard group as Grok described you.
Yeah, which I did like. I did like that little touch. But yeah, obviously we're branded in some way. That's like connected us all. Has that got a meaning? Does it give us more of a connection, or is it going to tear us more apart as a group as we're trying to go through and find out what it all means? So all these are questions that, as a player, I'm thinking that I can't wait to find these information out. If I'm in where, like, also where other people are from, because again, we've only known this one session of, again, like you said, the opposite Baker to me. There's going to be that conflict. So obviously, as a player, I know that, but as Misha, how he's going to react, and how's that going to pan out, and find out more information of where everyone's from and what it all means, that type of thing. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think personally, like when in these sort of situations, I mean, obviously we know the fog is magical in some way. I think.
From what you got, yeah.
Don't we? Yeah, because someone said that they could sense arcana, couldn't they? So there must be obviously, like you say, like caster or something like that. But also, me being me, I'm always super like suspicious. So even like Grok, I'm like, is he in on it? Why is he alive? Like I get dead like suspicious of any sort of like thing like that.
I sense that straight away with you, because you were the one who was saying, right, is there anything around that seems weird? Is there stuff like that?
Yeah, I always get dead suspicious. Which, to be fair, that fits in with the character and with Pebbles, so that's fine. So yeah, I think it's going to be nice to see the different parts of the city. That's going to be interesting. And see what sort of side things we come up with. I know you said like with any campaign, like you have the main like quest line, and then you have like side quests that come up and things like that. And also, knowing you're gonna put in things from our backstories. So that's going to be interesting to say the least. I'm a bit scared, but
you should be.
It'll be good. It'll be good. I hope.
Like, you guys all have your own backstories, and no one knows each other's backstories. And some of you don't even know your own backstories. There are bits and pieces that every single player has left for me. They've given a small amount of information as to what has happened around their life, or things that they know, things that have happened, but then left it open to my interpretation of where that is going to go in the future. And that is one thing I absolutely love, especially doing homebrew, because it's easier to fit people into the narrative. I can weave bits and pieces of everyone's backstories into certain places that you go to, or certain things that happen. And that's one thing that's exciting for me, is not only to see where the stuff with what happened with the fog and the mist and the tattoo and all that stuff, but to see these side bits turn really important, of these bits that at the moment will be, over the next few sessions and new days in game and weeks in game, there will be talking points that you guys will take your time to tell the people that you trust in group, more and more little tidbits of information, but them turning into main stories for a certain portion of this campaign, where we have Pebbles as center stage of the stuff that's going on in her life, or Misha at center stage with the stuff that's going on in his life and what he wants to do in his life. And that's really exciting for me because it adds so much to the narrative to be able to have these people's lives affected by things that are happening. And it makes it such a more living, breathing space, because these characters then seem real, that have these pasts, that have these things that have happened or not happened or are going to happen. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, I think, like you say, sort of intertwining the backstories with the narrative. And I think because in one of our other campaigns, Ed, who has Ed in it, his sort of backstory is centre stage at the moment. And, you know, even if it's not your character that's centre stage, because it's someone that's close to you in the party, you still have such a high level investment. And like, even just like moments and you're like, oh, it's like, that's crazy. And, you know, I think that when it's, you know, more close to home, as in like in the group and in the party, you're still just as invested, and it's still just as shocking. So I do like that in any capacity,
And we have,
whether it's mine or someone else's.
We have 6 amazing players who are so good at sharing the spotlight with everyone and letting people have their moment, that I think it's going to be even more beautiful with the way it's going to work in this, because everyone will add to those moments with their own excitement, with their own sadness, with their own joy. I think it'll be really nice, and I can't wait for those moments. They're going to be a lot of fun to see everyone's reactions when something about their backstory comes up, and to see the fear or the enjoyment or the excitement or the absolute shitting themselves moment. I can't wait for those, because one thing that you guys are all very not even good with, because it's something that happens naturally, is your reactions to things that just sort of give off such a good energy, and I think people enjoy watching it.
I know from myself, speaking on personal terms, I can't hide any expression, and any expression is definitely exaggerated, because I'm just that kind of person where if like there's been times when I'm like, what? I'm like, I'll go mental. I can't hold it in.
If you could pick one moment from the section that just happened as the one that still sticks in your mind when you think about session 1, what is that moment for you that stands out? Whether it be something that was funny or something that's dramatic or something that was scary to you personally, what is that one moment that stands out for you?
Cream pie. Cream pie for me.
Nice.
Cream pie for Rhys.
Cream pie and backdoor.
Clipping that as well.
Cream pie backdoor. That's me.
Yeah. Nice. Beautiful.
I can't. I think, yeah, both of those. I think the back door thing. We're just a bunch of fucking kids, really, aren't we? Like, we're just sat there, and it was towards the end of the stream. You know, we're all sort of like coming to the end of it, and it just broke us, and it's just funny. And
I think it's not even that. It's when Eddie, when he said the back door, right, that had us going, and then he says, "Where is it?" And he went, "In the back."
at the back of the house.
In the back, mate.
Oh, it's just brilliant. And I think another one which stood out for me as well is when, again, it's that one with Misha, where I picked up a little wooden figure and I go, "Is this your cousin?" And then you go, "Actually, it's my other son. Can I have him?" And I'm just joshing with it. I can't. I love that. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for sitting and chatting about session 1. And we'll see everyone on the next one. Goodbye.
It was a pleasure. See you later.
Bye.